David Beckham, football player, fashion icon, and now Leo Messi's boss. But his life was an emotional roller coaster ride. Because of one mistake, he was once the most hated player in England. Here's his story. David Beckham was born near London in 1975. His family was crazy about football and they were big Manchester United fans. They often drove 200 miles to cheer on their team at Old Trafford. From an early age, David practiced long passes in the park with his father, and he quickly made a name of himself across England.
Yeah, he's a bit special.
His technique on the ball and understanding of the game at a young age were outstanding. And in 1991, a dream came true for the whole family. At the age of 16, Manchester United signed him for their youth team. He trained hard and impressed Sir Alex Ferguson. And then, on September 23, 1992, he made his debut in the League Cup. A few months later, on January 23, 1993, he signed his first professional contract. He was now a professional football player at his favorite club. And a year later, on December 7, 1994, he made his Champions League debut, and it couldn't have gone better.
Beckham! It's a goal!
However, he was only 19 years old, and Ferguson knew Beckham still had a lot to learn, so he decided to loan him to Preston North End for a year. This year was very good for him. He scored 2 goals, including a direct goal from a corner kick. And Beckham returned to Manchester in 1995 with even more confidence. Over the next few months, he established himself in the right midfield position at United, and he won his first Premier League title. He was the up-and-coming shooting star in England, and the national coach noticed that too. On September 1st, 1996, during the World Cup qualifier against Moldova, the time had come.
Beckham!
He was now an England international. But it got even better. The 1996-97 season was like a dream for him. He was now one of the starting players at his favorite club, and in the opening game against Wimbledon, he casually did this.
And Beckham saw Sullivan off his line! Oh!
One of the most iconic goals in English football. Everyone was talking about him now. And also the ladies took notice, but he only had eyes for one, Victoria Adams, a singer of the Spice Girls. And only after 1 year, they got married. He ended the season again as a Premier League winner, and everything seemed to be going perfectly. But the next season was to be the worst of his career. United finished second behind Arsenal, and a frustrated Beck set out to show the world what he's capable of doing at the World Cup '98 in France. But coach Glenn Hoddle just put him on the bench during the first 2 games. The third group match was against Colombia, and England had to win to make it to the next round. Beckham was in the starting 11, and in the 29th minute there was a free kick. Beckham, the free kick specialist, his first ever goal for England. They won 2-0 and qualified for the next round. That game was against Argentina. Beck started again, but it was to be his worst game for his country. Diego Simeone fouled and provoked Beckham, and he hit Simeone with his foot. The referee gave Beckham a red card. England lost in penalty shootout, and Becks was singled out as the scapegoat of England. The Mirror headline, 10 heroic lions, 1 stupid boy. 23-year-old Beckham was devastated, and he was often booed at away games. But Ferguson helped him find new confidence in himself, and Beckham repaid with great games. We are at the end of the Premier League season 1998-99. Manchester United and Arsenal were neck and neck competing for the title. Manchester United had to win to secure the trophy. The last game was against Tottenham, and they were 0-1 down. But in the 42nd minute, David Beckham stepped up.
A real chance here for Manchester United, and David Beckham has got the...
He equalised, and just a few minutes later, Andrew Cole scored the 2-1, and Man U won the Premier League again. But there were still 2 important games to play, the FA Cup final and the most important game of Beck's career up to that point, Champions League final against Bayern Munich. 90,000 people cheered on the 2 teams, but in the 6th minute the shock for Manchester.
Here's Mario Basler, and it's in!
Basler with a free kick to make it 1-0 for Bayern. United attacked, but they couldn't score a goal. We are already in stoppage time, and every football fan knows what happens now.
York now. Come back to Giggs, and Sheringham!
Beckham took the corner and Sheringham equalised. And only 2 minutes later, another corner for Manchester. Beckham again.
Beckham with the corner. Oh, it's Solskjaer!
2-1. Unbelievable. Bayern lost the game in the final seconds and Beckham and Manchester became kings of Europe. United also won the FA Cup. The treble was complete. Beckham was named UEFA Footballer of the Year and was runner-up for the Ballon d'Or. The next 2 years with Manchester United were filled with success. He won the Premier League in 2000, 2001 and 2003, but many English fans still resented him for this. However, that was to change in 2001. He was now captain of the national team and they were fighting to qualify for the 2002 World Cup. We are in the last game. It was against Greece. England had to draw to avoid the tricky playoffs, but they were 1-2 behind. We are in stoppage time, and yes, this kind of thing usually only happens in cheesy movies, but there was one last free kick.
Beckham could raise the roof here with a goal.
Beckham scored the goal. England qualified for the World Cup and he went from scapegoat to national hero. Then in 2003 a new chapter. He left Manchester United and joined Real Madrid. There he was part of the Galacticos, playing with legends like Raúl, Zidane, Ronaldo and Roberto Carlos. But he had to wait until 2007 to win the Spanish championship. And then in 2007 the incredible Beckham turned down lucrative offers from European clubs and at the age of 32 years old he went to Los Angeles Galaxy in the US. America was celebrating and everybody was suddenly talking about the MLS, but Beckham was ridiculed from all sides. People were telling him that this move was ridiculous and a mistake. As it later turned out, this transfer was one of the best decisions of his life. On July 1st, 2007 he made his debut for Galaxy with people like Tom Cruise and Arnold Schwarzenegger watching. America was now in Beckham fever. In total, he played 5 years for Galaxy. His most successful were the last 2 when he won the MLS each time. During his time in the US, he was also twice loaned to AC Milan, playing alongside the likes of Ronaldinho and Pirlo. And 2010, a very special moment for him. He traveled to Manchester in the Champions League. For the first time, he will play against his childhood love. And he was welcomed with open arms at Old Trafford. His last game in the US was on December 1st, 2012 in the MLS Cup. He left the field with standing ovation in the 89th minute. LA won the cup and Becks was ready for his next adventure. On January 13th, 2013, he signed for Paris Saint-Germain for 6 months. He donated his entire salary to charity and won the French championship at the age of 38. And on May 13th, 2013, the time had come. David Beckham, the English legend, ended his football career in tears. But he had prepared for this moment long before. During his time playing, he secured lucrative advertising deals with Adidas, Samsung and later H&M. And remember when people said moving to the MLS would be a huge mistake? Back then, Beckham had a clause written in his contract that he had the right to start a new MLS team for only $25 million. This costs about $500 million today. In 2014, he announced that he would make use of his rights, and with other investors, he founded Inter Miami, who played their first game in 2020.
Look at the dad from Pizarro!
And then in 2023, something happened that nobody saw coming. Lionel Messi, the newly crowned world champion, turned down all the other offers and joined Beckham's club. And if you want to see a video about the life of Messi's coach Pep Guardiola, then subscribe, because that video is coming soon. On July 21st, 2023, Leo made his first game for Miami, and it couldn't have been cheesier. The score was 1-1, and there was one last free kick.
Messi!
2-1, Messi scored the winning goal, and his boss was in tears. David Beckham, a football icon known for his legendary free kicks and precise passes. But he is so much more than that. He has been a UNICEF ambassador since the beginning of the career, and he showed us that you have to follow your gut, even if everyone else says that it is a mistake.
Oh, brilliant goal! Beckham's done it again at Old Trafford!